This video is about the JackBord Universal Sensor Interface. When you get sensors from Arduino or AliExpress, they usually come like this. They have some labeling on there, but not very much. And more importantly, they don't actually tell you how to connect them up. The other thing is that if you look at the power supply pins on them, they often don't tell you how much voltage they require to run. So whether it's 5 volts, 3 volts, or 12 volts. And lastly, the pinouts on the different sensors are usually all quite different. For example, if you connect 5 volts onto a sensor that needs 3 volts, you're going to destroy it. Also, if you connect the power supply back to front, you'll also destroy it. So to help alleviate this problem, at JackBord we created the Universal Sensor Interface, and that's these little boards here. And one of the coolest things about these is that they actually come from the JackBord top. They basically come from these corner segments that used to be cut out and discarded, but now we use them to make the USIs. The first thing about the USI is that it has a reverse power protection diode on it. So what that means is that if you accidentally connect the power the wrong way around on the sensor, you won't damage the sensor. We also put protection resistors in here as well. And what that means is that if you connect the power to one of the signal pins, you'll also have a much lower chance of damaging it. Another good feature of the USIs is the fact that the power pins are all marked. Most traditional sensors, if you look at them, they say that they need VCC, but they don't actually tell you what VCC is, whether it's 3 volts, 5 volts, or 12 volts. With the USIs, first of all of the power pins are always on the bottom. So we have, in this case, a red pin, and that tells me that it needs 5 volts. The green pins are always the ground pins. Likewise for this laser rangefinder, this guy needs 3 volts because it's yellow, and again the ground pin is green and is always in the same place. That makes it much easier to connect the power to the sensors. Another good feature of the USI sensors is that every single sensor has a thing called a TMT code, or a Take Me To code. So for example, this is a proximity sensor, and the TMT code is TMT4 capital C capital H small r. So if you type that into the web browser on the jackbord.org website at the search prompt, it will take you directly to the information for that sensor. Okay, I'm in the JackBord dashboard, and if I go over to the Reference tab, and then put the cursor into the search prompt at the top, and say I choose this sensor. So this is a short-range proximity sensor, and the TMT code is TMT4CHR. So now I'm going to type that into the search prompt, and I press enter, and it will take me straight to the page for this particular sensor. And this is the idea of the Take Me To commands, is they literally take you to what you need. So this is a picture of it. This is how I connect it. So this is the pinout. And then it has examples of commands that you can run, cautions, etc., etc. So the idea of the Take Me To codes is that every single sensor has one, and that you can just enter these codes into your search prompt on the jackbord.org website, and it will take you directly to where the information is for that particular sensor. And finally, you'll notice that all of the USI sensors have this bolt hole at the end, all these guys. And what that lets you do is you can use the Jackano to then attach the sensors easily to things by using the M4 bolt hole, such as, like with these two here. So this is the short-range proximity sensor, and this is the buzzer sensor. So having the bolt hole is a really great thing. And lastly, all of the sensors are protected in a plastic sleeve. And what that means is that you've got a lot lower chance of damaging it by touching it or scraping it. And that's really useful, especially when you're using it in a classroom environment. In the meantime, if you want any other information or are just curious, you can visit us on www.jackbord.org.